All right, we are going to talk about ClickFunnels forms today, and maybe you're used to using online forms that already come with the required fields, and you plug them in, you paste them, or embed them on your site. So ClickFunnels allows you to create forms that could possibly never work, and here's the reason why. So the button element right here, if I click settings and I click the set action, you can see all the different possibilities that the button can be used for. So you can show and hide elements on the page with the button click. So if someone were to click the button, let's say you could hide this whole row right here, and then you could show another row below. So it can be used dynamically on the page to show and hide elements and rows, right? Okay, so that's one option. Also, you can use it to scroll on the page. So if you have a really long sales letter and you want to be able to dynamically click a button and scroll to the bottom where they can fill out a form, or if they're at the bottom, they click it and they scroll back to the top where they can fill out a form. So the button action can also be used for scrolling. The button action could automatically go to the next step in the funnel. It could go to an outside URL. It can open the pop-up, which we haven't talked about yet, but here's the pop-up element here. It could show a pop-up element, and you can create the pop-up by adding a column and any elements that you want. Maybe you want to collect name and email up there and so forth. So the reason that you could create a form and then the button never work is because there's so many things you can do with the button on the page. You can show, hide, scroll, go to the next step, go to a website URL, open the pop-up, but I just want to let you know, if you ever want to collect information like a name or an email, or if you're collecting credit card information, the button has to be set to submit. And automatically in ClickFunnels, it'll submit the form and then it'll go to the next step in the funnel. So you don't need to set it to go to the next step in the funnel. It'll automatically do that. All right, so just so you know, when building forms in ClickFunnels, there are some limitations. You probably already know, but you can only have one submit button on the page. You can have as many redirect, hide, show. You can have buttons that do any of these other things, but only one submit the form on the page. And this includes, whatever in the pop-up. Like let's say, for instance, you have a button on the pop-up. Let's say so this is what I see a lot, to be honest, is I see a name and an email, they're collecting up here, and then a button here, right? So what the goal is basically, if they don't fill out the information here and they go to leave, they want to pop up and say, hey, don't forget to send your information. This isn't going to work because you can only have one required email field on the page. And so it'll actually not work as you're wanting to submit. So let's say, for instance, they come to the page and they submit their information and they never see the pop-up. It won't actually submit the information because you have another button here in the pop-up. So that's one limitation with the forms in ClickFunnels. You can only have one submit the page information on a page. Okay, so that's one limitation. Also, this includes mobile and desktop. So if you're doing a desktop view, and let's say you want, let's clone this, and we'll say on this row right here, I only want it to be showing on mobile. And then let's say this one right here, if I scroll up, I only want this row to be showing on desktop, okay? All right, so this one's showing on desktop, and then if I look on mobile, this one's showing on mobile, and let's say on mobile, I don't want this header. I just want the form, okay? So I want a little bit different information collected, or different look on mobile than I do on desktop. This also will not work because even though it's showing on desktop and mobile differently, they both load with the page. And if you're on desktop, you can't see the mobile form. And when you go to click to send, you won't be able to collect the information because the mobile version hasn't been filled out either, which it's required to submit an email. And so it'll break your page. So I hope that helped in just understanding how the forms work and the limitations with forms. And then also is the buttons and everything you can use with the buttons. Now, anytime you want to submit information on a form, you only have to have at minimum an email and a button. You don't even need anything else but that. And the email is the unique identifier. So as long as you collect an email, you're going to collect a contact.